having women come through the spot and then they call me out for how fucking nasty it was. If one thing I'll never do is lie to you. Man, today's video I'm stupid excited about, and I know it's gonna be controversial, but something I've just been noticing and thinking about a lot is why I'm watching so many boys become men, but they're not able to actually become men and they still think like boys. And I've been just wondering, like, where's the cycle at? What is breaking off? What's happening? And I feel like the biggest thing that I've recognized is that a lot of people have stopped going to college, right? And the reason is because of those student loans. And let me just acknowledge something right now. Going off to a college and then coming back with 150,000 or something in like student loans is definitely not gonna be worth it in the long run, because you do gotta get them loans paid off, and them payments can be vicious over time. But there is a high value skill that comes from going to college that I know changed my life, right? Because I sometimes actually be thinking about how exactly did I become so disciplined, so productive, so focused on understanding my future. And to be honest, it was college. College taught me so many skills that I would have never learned if I would have stayed in the nest next to my mommy and she would have kept taking care of me, right? That wouldn't have allowed me to grow. And I've noticed it along with other men who also decided not to go to college and just stay at home with their mommies. They still think like little boys, even though some of them 25, 30 years old, right? And so let's talk about, in my opinion, the real value of going to college, okay? So one of the first things I believe going to college is really valuable on is that it teaches you how to be a man. And let me give you some examples. You signing up for classes, yes, you can have, now, I don't remember all the terminology now, I've been out of school for like 10 years, but let's say like, I don't know, like a assistant, like I don't know, like people who help you sign up for your classes. Like, yes, you can have a person like that, but for the most part, no one is gonna be blowing your phone up to be like, hey, you really need to come sign up for these classes. Like, you have to go seek out that assistance to be able to even get in class, right? You have to understand what degree you're going for and the classes that you need to complete within that degree that you need to get on your schedule. Also, when you're choosing your classes, right, you have to understand, am I a morning person and am I an evening person, and create times around your classes that set you up to also be successful, right? Do you have a job while you're in school? If you have a job, you're also in the beginning making those decisions around that. And so just off that first hurdle that you even got to grow through to get to class starts to teach you responsibility and accountability skills that you just don't get a lot of times when you're just out in the real world working a 9-to-5 job and then going back home to your mommy's house, right? And in that vein, another skill that you end up learning is no one's waking your ass up for those classes, right? It's completely on you to decide to wake up and get ready and go to class, okay? And that right there, I've watched a lot of people fail in school when I was in school because of that, because like they had nobody there to help them. They would always blame things on their roommate not getting them up. They blame it on the party that went too late and all this other stuff. But like having the point that you now are in the hole, let's say each year is 25,000. You now in the hole for 25K. And so if you drop out, that 25K ain't going nowhere. You still got to pay it back. It also teaches you the consequences of your decision making. Now, of course, I would love for all of y'all to go to high school, know that you're going to college, get straight A's, get scholarships, and just live the good life. But that's not everybody's reality, right? And so for a lot of you all, it teaches you as well that when you decide to take on these loans and debts, that regardless of if you execute or not on what you said you were going to do, that shit got to be paid back. You feel me? So you know in the real world how it is. When I remember I got my first learning experience swiping that damn credit card, knowing I didn't have that money in my debit account. And then guess what? I had to pay that shit back. And I had to pay it back with interest. Now, some idiot will tell you, oh, go file for bankruptcy and then everything. Don't. Learn some accountability, right? You made the decision. You decided to put yourself in that situation. Now grind your way out of it. Now, I won't knock bankruptcy because it can definitely save your ass, but like that should not be your first thought process to your decision making when it comes to you being a man. One of the next skills you learn, keeping your spot clean, right? Because let me tell y'all some real ish. I got so good at cleaning due to having women come through the spot And then they called me out for how fucking nasty it was. At first, when it's just your boys around, nobody cares that there's dirty dishes, that you're not cleaning your tub, that you got toothpaste all over the mirrors. Nobody cares about that, right? That's just all like, we all chilling, we all boys, we don't give a fuck. But when you got a shorty come through and she tough, right? And now she walking in, I'll tell y'all a story, wildest story ever. So this was my first tough shorty. We talking like the neck breaker, right? Where she walk in the room shut-ish down. So I remember when I booked my first one, I was like, damn, I'm really moving up in the world. Y'all see me? And then she's like, all right, she's gonna pull up through the spot. Now in college, I don't know how it is today, but back then that was super normal. For y'all, you meet a shorty, y'all gonna come kick it in the crib. Like, and I lived in the apartment, so it was like nicer. And so she come through, right? And at the time, my teammate's in there too, but he always was in his room. So she come in the joint, hey yo, listen, it was like you walk in to the living room and then you like walk into the next area, and that's like our bathroom with our 2 sinks and the big mirror, and then it's like the bathroom was over there. And so she walk in and she look over at the mirror and she's like, yo, whose sink is this? Man, I'm looking like, man, it's his, man, he a nasty motherfucker. So remember, y'all, this is my first baddie. Baddies operate different than regular shorties, and I learned this over time, clearly, because I've been with way more attractive women since then. She go knock on his door. You feel me? So he opened the door. He never seen her before, by the way. She had just got there. Oh, I gotta think of where she from, New York. And she knocked on his door. Boom, boom, boom. He opened the door. What's up? So I'm behind him like this, like, no, please, no, right? So she's like, I just, want to ask, what's up with your sink? Like, you a pretty nasty motherfucker. So he look over at me, and then he looked back at her, and remember, she tough, y'all. And he looked back at me, man, I could see it in his eyes. He was like, man, hell no, she ain't about to be telling people this shit. So he was like, man, that ain't my shit, that's his. Man, and she looked back at me, I can't even laugh because her face is so serious, you feel me? And she's like, I knew it was yours because like the sink was literally on your side, and I thought it was weird for you to use the other side. I was like, man, yeah, that's on me, man. She was like, all right, look, I'm about to head out. Say, but next time I come through, I expect all this shit to be clean. Hey, y'all hear me out, bro. She dipped. I ain't never in my life had a woman talk to me like that. I went through, cleaned that whole motherfucker down. Y'all hear me? Bathroom, sinks, everything, had that shit sparkling. She came back the next day and was like, this is what I expect to walk into. And I was like, hey, now I know. But look, this is the thing. That skill set right there taught me when I start moving into my own spot. That's why my spot now is so damn clean, right? Like people walk in there, sometimes they get nervous about being in my place because like everything is wiped down, everything is clean. I don't do dirty dishes. My tub is clean. My mirrors is always wiped down. Like my shit is on point. Bed's always made, clothes always folded. Like you, literally everything is, I'm hung up in my closet by whatever category I have it in. Like I love being on point and being neat, but that was a skill I learned from being in school. Another skill you learn, feeding yourself. Now, you do get the, all right, I don't remember the names of it, so I'm gonna just call it a per diem. I think that's what you get when you play sports and not just what you get, but we're just gonna use that word for now. So you also get like an allotted amount that they give you to like swipe for your meals, and then you also get money if you have like another place on campus that y'all can get food. It's like a certain amount of money you can get if you get that package. And so I had that package, but I also was playing sports, so I also got the, I'ma just presume it's all called per diem. I really can't even remember. And I had that too as well. And so when it comes to feeding yourself, this is important because it was like, no one's gonna stuff 3 meals in my mouth each day, and lunch, breakfast, and dinner were at certain times, right? And then you could go over to the other spot to get food randomly too, but you only had a limited amount of that. So if you burnt through all that in your first month, that means you had, what was that semester was, half the year. So what, like 3 or 4 months? So I mean, you went the rest of the time without no money on your card. So it's like you had to learn budgeting while also understanding that, yo, I need to go like feed myself, I need to eat at these times and everything. And then once I started living in the apartments, I had to learn how to cook, you feel me? And so this taught me basic cooking skills to be able to feed myself. And I can now cook way better today because of those skills that I learned then. I budget my money better now, right? Because of those skills that I learned being there. Another great skill I learned was living with people. Man, I did the 1-bedroom, so I got to live by myself to see how that felt, which was fucking amazing. Then I did the 2-bedroom. So I only had like me and my boy. That was pretty lit too though, just being with my boy. But then I also had the 4 bedrooms. Now I'm living with 3 different personalities. That was honestly pretty lit too. Now remember, this is college life, so we all just lit playing sports, so it's a different feeling. But at the end of the day, it got to teach me, how do I operate when it comes to other personalities? At that time in life, that was cool. But as I got older, I realized I like to be on my own. I like to see things be in place the way that I left them. That is why I live by myself now. I literally can't stand if I was to come back home and things are just all out of whack when I know I left them clean at the beginning of the day. That's also probably why I ain't got a partner right now. It's not that I struggle with women, but man, let me tell y'all, I be kind of OCD sometimes. I'm gonna keep it 100. But the real point I'm making here is it just teaches you, like, are you the type of person that can have roommates, or are you the type of person that needs to be solo dolo? If you need to be solo dolo, it'll also teach you that, okay, financially, then I gotta make sure I'm taking my life to that next level, because if I'm not, then I'm not gonna be able to live in a way that allows me to live on my own in the future. Last but not least, it kind of come back to my story at the beginning, it teaches you about women, okay? I don't think any man should miss that opportunity at college. Now, it is kind of different now, I presume, just because it's social media today. I mean, I feel like you got 18-year-olds flexing on there. Oh, and they got the NIL deals and all these other things. When I was in college, the NIL deal didn't exist, which meant that like student athletes was actually being paid. If you got paid, it was by your agent on some underhand stuff, but like we all got the same per diem at my point in life. Also, social media was just popping off, so Instagram was just becoming lit. And for context, I graduated in 2015. So Instagram was just becoming like lit, but it was still not, you still just took photos with your people. It's like you wasn't, who had on the Louis Vuitton or the Gucci or that, nobody cared about that. Just take cool little pictures and everybody was fine, right? And we didn't even connect that way. Like social, the Instagram, it was not like how many followers you had. You just gave people that just to give it to them, right? But you didn't really post a lot on your stories. You didn't really post pictures every single day. You just did it when you felt like it. And it could be as random as ever. It was so different back then. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I say that to say, with women going to school, it'll teach you how to talk to shorties in an enclosed environment where like you kind of set up to win, right? And so you get to get over all that rejection and ish early on, right? Because in college, you're not gonna get to sleep with everybody, right? But everybody's more open to the possibility of it because we're all just here chilling, right? When we outside of class, like honestly ain't nothing else to do but drink, smoke, and fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause there ain't but so many times you could go to the gym, but so many times you could be in practice. Like at some point you want to Netflix and chill. And so it gives you that opportunity to now talk to multitudes of women that are within a couple steps of you every single day. You get to refine your game. You get to understand the type of women you like. You get to understand like all these different things. So that way, when you get out in the world, you're not so uncomfortable. The amount of men I've run into, bro, that's scared to absolute death to talk to women is so ridiculous to me. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And at some point I'm gonna start making videos showing you how to approach women and talk to them authentically, not none of that made up creation stuff, because that ain't gonna help y'all, right? I can easily get a bunch of my women friends to come and just shoot random videos to be like, okay, this is what I want you to say when I walk up. That is not gonna be real life for a lot of guys though, right? And so that's something I'll probably do in the future, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it just teaches you the skills as well to talk to women. And also, I'm gonna give y'all the final thing, because I could probably keep going about it forever. You also learn when people finish college, who became successful and who didn't. And I wanna give y'all a great example. My success honestly didn't come till later, and it didn't come until I met like hella connections down the road. But there were people who literally graduated college and went right into their careers. What was the difference between me and them? The difference between me was that while I made it through college, goddamn scraping by the end of the fucking board, trust me, I really predicated my time having fun, and I had responsibilities, but I really had a lot of fun, like an absurd amount, okay? Then there were people who were a little bit more chill than me, but they turned around and was locked in. They went and got the right connections. They were doing the, oh my God, I can't even remember, they were doing internships at places. And so when they graduated, they went right into that job. While me, on the other hand, I had nothing lined up and it had to go just like figure it out on my own. And then at some point I landed where I am, but like it took a lot more time. And so you also started to recognize how like all of us could be in the same place. But if you locked in on your goals, you go there. And if you're not locked in on your goals, you go here with everybody else, right? This is also why some people in college end up going to the league, in whatever respective league, right? They were locked in on that. And that was their goal and focus while they were in school. And if all the guys that just slept with endless women and just was chilling and just having fun and partying, they end up graduating, got a degree, but then they ain't got no direction. And they'll blame the system on them not being successful. But the truth is, you didn't apply yourself while you was in you didn't apply yourself while you was in the best circumstance ever. Because now I'm gonna give y'all another rule of why a lot of men are struggling and never went to school or anything. When you become 21 as a man, you now move into being competition, okay? When you are below 21, people look at you as a little Padawan and they don't mind mentoring you and giving you game and everything. But once you start hitting 21, 25, 30, ain't nobody trying to hear about no sad story. They want to know, what can you bring to my life that I want to even help you out or put you on game with anything, you feel me? And so that is something really important to know as you all are navigating through life in general. But overall, those are some of the reasons I think that more men need to go to college. Now, of course, I want you all to apply yourselves in high school so you can go there for free. But even if you got to take that loan out, man, for a year or two to just learn some responsibility, it'll really change your perspective on things. I'm even thinking of the amount of people I met from different states. Because, you know, I'm from DC. I hadn't been out too much before I went to college. So meeting all these people from all these different places was also lit. And it also gave me connections that then I could then go to those places and hang out with them. But now I get to be in new environments. It just changed so much for me. And then from a sports perspective, the amount of places we flew that I never, like for free, that I would have probably never went to just check out and be around. I know it was usually for the games or whatever, but like it was lit. Like it was a great experience. And I started being like, damn, I want to be on flights where I'm just chilling here myself though. And I want to have the money to be able to do it. It's just, it gave me so much of a broader view of life because you're so sheltered into what you know and what you think when all you do is stay around the same people and do the same things for your entire life. You feel me? You know how they say like your environment changes everything for you? It really is like that. And so I truly want everybody to go out here and experience the world. And one of the places that starts is at college, you know? And so that's gonna be my recommendation to a lot of people. I don't want y'all to go in debt or anything, but like I also want y'all to make sure you get out of the womb, because the closer you stay close to your mommy and you have that safety net, you're never gonna be able to grow up to be the man you need to be. Man, if y'all like this video, hit that like button. Comment your thoughts below. Do you think all men should go to college, or what was your experience like in college that you learned? I'd love to hear about it. Hit that subscribe button and I will see everybody at the top.